Hey everybody, this is Ryan McClanahan with HistoryThroughCards.com. I hope you're all doing very well today. So it's kind of funny that I was flipping through Netflix not too long ago and I came across this documentary. It was We Are the World. And, you know, I always joke like, well, I remember 1984 and I remember 1986. I don't remember 1985, and I think I found the reason why I don't remember 85. Of course, I think I remember a lot of it now because I watched this documentary, We Are the World, and it brought back so many memories. I'm not going to say they were all great memories because at the time they blasted We Are the World honestly on like a daily basis on MTV. And even in my school, we had to sit down and watch this recording of We Are the World. And I remember my teachers actually, they were, just awestruck of this. And at the time, like I'm a kid, it's 1985. So I was like, I love music, but I was like, listen, like this is stupid. Like I don't understand. I don't get it. And so they just played it over and over again, and it drove me nuts. One of my all-time favorite bands was in this, and actually, come to think of it, there's a lot of really great bands from the 80s that I absolutely love. And, the 1980s was a fantastic decade. It's cheesy and it's great at the same time. The clothing styles and the music, awesome. I mean, honestly, God, I think I grew up in just a fantastic decade. But Huey Lewis is a huge part of We Are the World, and this really did bring back a lot of great memories for me. Just watching all of my favorite bands and singers, and what was Dan Aykroyd actually doing in this? I was like, dude, like he's not a singer. Why is Dan Aykroyd in We Are the World? He looked really out of place. And come to find out, he was at the right place at the right time, but he was the only actor in this. Actually, that's not quite true because Huey Lewis is also an actor as well. And I wanted to kind of tell you about Huey Lewis in the news and the rise of this band, which really is a very feel good band from the 1980s, and it's also a band where I've gotten all my speeding tickets from. So Huey, if you're listening to this, buddy, you owe me a lot of money in speeding tickets. I'm just joking, but yes, all my speeding tickets happened because I was listening to Huey Lewis in the news. So I'm gonna read a couple of articles here, and then I'll meet you on the flip side for what I think about Huey Lewis and the news. This is from the Spokane Chronicle, December 12th, 1986. Huey Lewis rocks hippest square tries to sort out fame by Dawn Adair. Huey Lewis has a nose for news, local news. In a phone interview last week, he joked about Spokane civic affairs, specifically the much fought about proposal to build a new entertainment facility here, a drama in which he unwittingly has become a player. We don't care if you have a new Coliseum or not. We're gonna come up there anyhow, Lewis cracked. Huey Lewis became a symbol of Spokane's entertainment wars when his tour bypassed town last year for Pullum and its sparkling 12,000-seat Beasley Performing Arts Pavilion. He learned of the flap when a fan sent him a copy of a newspaper story written when he was signed to play here Monday. He'll play our aging 7,000-seat Hockey Palace Coliseum. Lewis became a superstar when Sports, his band's third LP, fought its 2-year battle to the top of the charts, but he's amused by superstar treatment. After banging around in the music industry for years, he seems to wear his newfound fame lightly. Ask him about his reputation as a famous nice guy. who just wants to be normal, and he turns it into a joke. I'm all for superstardom, he deadpans, pause, as long as it happens to somebody else. The worst part of the superstardom, he told Rolling Stone, is that your friends never pick up the check. The best part, he said last week, is that people call you, like Sting and Phil Collins, and you get to meet those guys. He was thrilled when Bruce Springsteen jammed with him in Paris and joined him for dinner. Lewis was a teenager. He was Huey Craig then, when his father, a Martin County, California jazz drummer and radiologist, sent him off to see Europe. Lewis burst around the continent and into North Africa, supporting himself by playing on the streets. I went out and played harmonica on the streets of Casablanca, for example, and made $10, and it only cost me $3 to live. So I was making a living, at 17 years old. Even now, Huey Lewis, 36-year-old superstar, recounts the insight with the glee of the newly enlightened. It was a very important lesson, I think. As a kid, I learned, you know what? That's all I needed to do to survive. I made up my mind at that point that I wasn't going to work for anybody, and what I was going to do was what I wanted to do. Lewis returned to the States, attended Cornell for a year, and buried himself in the Marin County scene for a few years. He emerged as the harp player and part-time vocalist for a country rock band called Clover. Clover released a couple of records that went nowhere and went to England to record two more never to be heard records. Clover got in on England's new music scene when its rhythm section backed Elvis Costello on his debut LP. I believe that's 1977. The band returned to Marin County and broke up. The new band, Huey Lewis and the American Express, took shape at the Monday night jam sessions of a small club. They renamed themselves Huey Lewis and the News when they cut their debut LP in 1980. It didn't sell much, but their 1982 LP, Picture This, went to 13 on the Billboard album chart, and Do You Believe in Love was the band's first top 10 single. Sports was released in September 1983. I Want a New Drug, Hard Rock and Roll, and If This Is It all went to number 6 on the charts. Walking on a Thin Line entered the top 20. In the summer of 1985, The Power of Love from the Back to the Future soundtrack became the band's first number one hit and earned it an international audience. The new LP, 4, was released in August, and it has begun to spawn its own series of hits. Lewis won't predict how far 4 will go, but with the success of sports, the pressure is on. The thing is, you see, you never really know about a record. The songs, you just kick them out of the house. Right when you kick it out of the house, everybody, first of all, is going to say to your face, man, the record is fabulous. And then secretly, they're going to say, it's not as good as the last one. Fortunately, Lewis believes some songs take on lives of their own, and the record either succeeds or fails on the strength of the material. Some of the problem children become the best adults. You know what I mean, and vice versa. The fan Lewis still has trouble reconciling himself with his superstar alter ego. He told Rolling Stone his records are probably not all that great. Listening back to 4 for the first time straight through, Lewis kidded the band. I said the band news is that the record isn't all that great. The good news is it's better than sports. A few weeks later, he's more reflective about the record's virtues. The bad news is it could be better. The good news is it's better than most of the stuff out there, quite honestly. Time is the virtue test, and if you're still hearing Huey Lewis records on the radio in a few years, you'll know he succeeded, at least in the pop sense. For now, There's lots of good news for Lewis and the band. By and large, they seem to have struck a balance between families and profession. They're riding the success of another hit album, and Lewis says the rest of the world is discovering them this year. As a bonus, Lewis succeeded this year in his 5 year fight to land a record deal for his friend and protege, Bruce Hornsby. Hornsby is hot. With a single and a hit LP, he'll open for the News Monday. And Bruce Hornsby is a really good singer, too. Just an FYI. If you haven't known about Bruce Hornsby, he was with the Grateful Dead for a short time. This is from the Press Enterprise, Bloomberg, Pennsylvania, January 26, 2019. News on the Huey Lewis front. In a perfect world, singer Huey Lewis, 68, wouldn't have career-threatening Meniere's disease, but as to prove the heart of rock and roll is still beating, Lewis and the News just announced a record deal for their 10th studio album. It's due for release in the spring, according to Ultimate Classic Rock and other music outlets. The hitmaker's last record was 2001's Plan B. Since then, Lewis has been diagnosed with a chronic ailment that can cause hearing loss and balance issues. Last spring, it spurred Lewis to cancel dozens of tour dates. Although I can still hear a little one on one and on the phone, I can't hear music well enough to sing, he explained to his Facebook followers at the time. Lewis has said his Meniere's disease can get better, it just hasn't yet. But that didn't stop the group from recording new material. We're very excited about our new album and honestly feel that it's among our best work. We cannot wait to get it out to fans, Lewis enthused in a statement. The band is signed with music company BMG. Lewis laments a tour to promote Plan B is on hold due to the cacophony in his ears that prevents him from finding pitch on stage. He's staying positive, though, and was offered encouragement by a fellow musician with Meniere's disease. Come pick me up, artist Ryan Adams, 44, took to Twitter to wish Lewis well. Meniere's is a tough ride at first, Adams advised. It's confusing and hard to explain to others as they cannot see it, but you will rise above it and be better than ever. We have no doubt Meniere's can't keep Lewis from working for a living. They say the heart of rock and roll is in Cleveland, but Huey Lewis and the News, they're not in the Hall of Fame, which is really strange. I thought that they would be. They have, let's see, 30 million albums sold, and 17 of their songs are in the top 40. A lot of people say that Sports from 1983 is one of their best albums ever. And Huey Lewis, he's a very relatable everyman, and his songs are just really catchy. I think they're gonna last a lifetime, tell you the truth. And there are, I'm sure, people who have never heard Huey Lewis in the News. There's people who have never seen Star Wars either. So, I, you know, I thought this would be a really great introductory for anyone who hasn't actually heard Huey Lewis, or if you haven't heard Huey Lewis's songs in a while. I'm gonna leave in the description below his top songs, which I think you guys would really enjoy. And I obviously am a huge fan. I didn't know that he had any cards out there, Huey Lewis in the News. I didn't know this, but he's got a Panini card or sticker from 1987 and a few others as well. And so I've always been a huge Huey Lewis and the News fan. And so when I actually saw that documentary, We Are the World, there was a lot of things in there that I really didn't realize at the time when that stupid thing was out. It was just played so much that I was like, ah, go away. So, your perspective on either movies, music, clothing, literature, it changes as you get older. and even sports cards as well. So in like the 1980s, if I had actually seen any Panini stickers of musicians, I probably wouldn't have picked them up because I wasn't really thinking about it at the time. And these are really interesting stickers, the sets. I'm probably going to actually talk more about Panini smash hits in future videos. I did actually buy one not too long ago. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it's of my all-time favorite band. So when I die, I'm going to actually have a quote from this band on my gravestone. I'm not going to tell you who it is, though. You'll just have to guess for now. It's not Huey Lewis, but it's probably Huey is like a close like third or fourth on my top five bands and singers from the 1980s. I could actually talk to you guys about 1980s singers, bands, and music all night long, but I know you have other things to do. So again, guys, I'm gonna have his greatest hits in the description below. So just in case you haven't heard them or haven't heard them in a long time. Again, guys, thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it as always. Give me a like and subscribe for more videos, and I will talk to you in another video. Have a good one. Bye.